The camera in front of you is green now, and when it's red, that means you're live. I'm going to go ahead and start the stream.
Cool. Good morning. Good morning.
I'm in here. I need you all to come on in. Come on in, because I'm in here.
You know they remix Come On In the Room? Oh my goodness. I heard it on the radio.
Wow.
I said, wow.
We need to learn that version.
15 seconds.
That's what's hot. And they only did it because of us.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Can't stay waiting for it.
God bless you. God bless you. God bless every one of you. This is the day that the Lord has made. I am rejoicing and I am extremely glad.
He's
in
back,
it.
everybody!
I am here. I'm here. Look at here. I'm in here. I am in here. You know what it is.
Yeah.
You know who I is.
You heard it.
This is Pastor J.D. Sturdivant, the very fine pastor.
Very
You know, I'm
fine.
bringing myself. I got some new oil
I like it.
when I was
Very
at in Nigeria. I'm the very fine pastor
Good for you.
of Faith United Ministries, 7905 Fernham Lane in District
Nice.
Heights, Maryland.
Yep, he
and
is.
I've got the gorgeous, the lovely. I've got them right here with me. You know who they
Hey,
is.
y'all. Hey,
I
hey,
have
hey.
got StephTheBest.net,
Yeah.
.org, .com, the DOT, Box of Dots, .LLC.
LLC.
She is up in the house. She's here. And then on the right of me, I've got not a whole lot of introduction. This one here don't need no introduction. One name, one word, one mic. You know who it is. Josiah. Yep, and they are here. And listen, we're excited about being here in the very fine studios of WBGR. And listen, back in the back, I was just talking to a minute ago. This place is about to blow up from the blow up. It's about to happen. It is Mr. Lionel Green. He is back there doing it really, really big, doing big things. We got a lot of stuff working behind the scenes that you all are not aware of, but you're going to have to get on top of what's happening. And you can't sleep. You can't miss a week. You cannot miss a moment.
close your eyes.
You can't miss our Facebook page. Listen, every closed eye ain't sleeping. Every goodbye ain't gone. We still here even when we not.
Stop need to leave.
Trying to tell you all
Just go ahead and just
what's
go
going on here. Because we are up here in the room. And let me just tell you, I see you, Pastor Marvin. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. I've got Coy the comedian holding us down on the other
Thank you,
side
sir.
of the wall, making it happen. And I think I saw Shantae
She's out there
out
as well.
there, making it
Appreciate
happen,
you.
making sure that nobody comes running up in here on us, you know,
Right.
go bloop, 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 trying to shoot us or anything like that. You
doing
know,
great.
I just don't want nobody to run up in
They're gonna
here
do
on
what?
it. Bloop, bloop, bloop.
Okay.
I don't want to do that. Don't want to run up in here on us. Because I don't want to have to kill nobody and then do the funeral for free.
We don't.
No,
we
because
don't
see,
want
since
that.
I am a preacher,
Very fine.
I can
Very
kill
fine.
somebody.
Yeah.
And do the funeral for free. Now, I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to let Pastor Marvin kill him. And then I'll do the funeral for free because he's been shooting a few more people lately than I have. So I'll let him kill him first.
That's funny.
And then I'll do the funeral for free. But listen, I'm telling you, I'm back from Nigeria. And even though you all have been saying that the weather is pleasant and all of that kind of stuff around here, it's cold to me.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't know what this is. It is cold. I am not pulling off anything. My mother told me don't take off your long johns till April 15th. And so,
okay.
yeah, that's what she told me back in the day. And I always, then when I found out that April 15th was when people do their taxes and stuff like that, and get it back,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
said, am I supposed to keep them on because the IRS
Right.
will take my drawers?
Exactly.
I wasn't quite sure what my mother's rationale is, but she's 96 years old,
love
and
it.
if that's what she says, that's their grandmother.
That's
and I
wisdom
figure
right
that if
there.
she says stuff like that, you live to be 96.
Yeah, you gotta listen.
Oh,
Yeah.
listen,
She
you gotta
knows
listen to
she's
people that
saying.
say something.
Yeah.
So keep your drawers on
Till April 15th.
Till April 15th.
That's
noted.
You can put on the short ones, and you can let me take off the short ones. but keep the long ones on.
Got
I
it.
think you should
Okay.
keep it on all year, actually.
Well, you know, that's my concept.
Yeah, keep them on all year round.
You know, just please do that.
Yeah.
So, listen, we're here and we're grateful to be here. And let me just thank these lovely ladies for doing such a wonderful, wonderful job. You know, while I was away, while I was in Africa, while I was over there with my people, while I was over there in the presence of the Lord, I'm telling you, I have come back. I am beyond oily. I am greasy. It's like lard melted with butter. That's where I am, mixed with some olive oil. But that's where I am. I'm just so greasy. It's not even funny. And so it's I've only done a couple of things since I've been back. I did a teaching on Monday night, and I'm telling you, it's just been kind of crazy what the Lord is saying and doing. And I don't know if people are really, really ready, but the Lord is ready nevertheless. I'm about to let these ladies say something very quick, and then I'm going to jump into this teaching. But while I'm on here right now, I want to go ahead and shout out my daughter. I just saw her coming on, Wanda Briscoe.
Happy
Hey,
birthday!
it's her birthday. Hey, it's your birthday. You survived now. You can thrive. Hey, it's your birthday. Cancer sucks. The devil lost. Cancer sucks. The devil lost. You have survived. There we go. All of that is for my daughter.
Nice.
That
51.
Wanda Briscoe, 51 big ones.
Looking young.
She has done it.
That's good
And just moved into her new house.
Yeah,
Built
congratulations.
it from the ground floor.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about.
Just now built her new house. I think she got into it maybe about 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
From the ground floor.
Got a book.
Got her book that is coming out. She is doing a
Conference in June.
this year, and I just need you all to get ready. Please, daughter, put out there, put it on my page when the conference is. What's the name of the conference? Put it. I want you to put it on the page. Here's some free publicity on your birthday, because it is your birthday,
Yeah, she's a
and
great
you've been
supporter.
such a major supporter of us, and I love you so much, and all you survived. So put the name of your conference and the date of your conference on my page so that people can see that and what it's going to cost. I think it's just $25.
It's very, very reasonable.
It's unbelievable. And got my sister
Yeah.
coming up in that camp. Well,
Yeah.
you know, coming just going to be ministering and sharing. And so put it out there for them so they can do that in a big, big way. I'm very, very excited about that. Steph, greet the people, please.
Good morning, great people.
Yes, Dem.
WBGR, YouTube,
Uh-huh.
Facebook. What's up? I'm excited. It's the first dose. And, you know, Pastor R, you was gone. I definitely had to do some soul searching.
Yeah, you did.
And I had to, you know, find some things in myself because my struggle was real. And I had to like study a little bit, and I had to read a little bit more, and I had to put myself in God's word just because I knew that you wouldn't be here to carry me.
Right.
And
Right.
I did it
Come
a little
on,
bit.
man.
I was proud. I was like, you know what? I can't do it.
I watched y'all. Y'all did
I
it.
can do it.
Y'all
So
did the
thank
doggone
you.
thing.
Thank
I was
you.
watching you.
I'm happy.
Yeah.
So are you still in the word? Or?
Oh, no, so you knew I was coming
Well,
back.
I yeah, so I knew you was coming back, so I did follow.
You know that's how the members do too. It's like, oh well, Pastor's back. We ain't got to fast no more.
Yeah,
We ain't got to plan. We ain't got to get
as hard
ready.
as I was.
Not as hard as
You
I
said while
was.
you was gone, I did.
I did.
I did. Now
I
you're
was reading a lot, like a whole
Lord.
lot. I'm still reading.
The
It's just-
saints. But thank you for your honesty.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Hey, that's why she's you know the box of dice. You
That's
don't know
it.
what color, what flavor you gonna get. Every time.
I just don't know, but I'm glad. I'm glad. I think a lot of people can relate to that too, though.
Absolutely.
You know, as long, I think you said that same concept when you were talking a few months ago when you were saying as long as you knew your mother was going to be doing this or doing that or doing the other, you kind of felt like you had a safety net.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we do, you know.
Absolutely.
And so I'm glad that you said that because it shows that when we're doing certain things, it rolls over into every area of our lives.
It does.
You know, we just say, wait a minute, am I that same spirit is all the way across in my life? Okay. So Steph the Best came and dropped some wisdom and exposed
Yeah,
y'all too.
yeah.
I want all y'all to be real honest. There is my son, Officer Seth Meacham. Good to see you, man. Pray everything is good with your family. Good to see you, man of God. Good to see you. Thank God. You know, he would always, when he first started coming around Faith in his uniform,
Oh yeah.
people didn't know what to make of him. We would be in there
Right.
praising and praying and everything. All of a sudden, here come this officer walking in and walking around, and people's like, "Who we here to arrest?"
Are we really hitting our hands up for
Because
God,
we're like, "Is this for
Right,
God or
like-
because?"
You found me.
It's like, why is he here? How did he I was gonna be in
surrender.
church.
Okay.
I don't want no issues, officer. We love you, man. We love you, love you, love you, love you, love you.
Appreciate you.
On the right of me, come on, greet the people,
Hey,
Josian.
everybody. Hey, good morning, y'all. We are here another week, and we're excited to be here. We always appreciate the opportunity to be able to share with you all. And you know, as the title of this broadcast, Back to Basics, we like to give you basic teachings that's going to help you in everyday life with everyday decisions and choices. And we come from a spiritual perspective. We're excited to have Pastor back. You know,
Yeah.
we appreciate just this his ministry and this broadcast and. It's been amazing, Pastor. We've had some people who've come on and they actually stayed on.
Well, I saw it.
They actually commented and they stuck with us, so that was a blessing.
Did you see when I started the watch party?
You did a watch party.
I promise you, I did a watch.
How was that for you?
Oh, that was a strange thing, though. But I didn't know. You were trying to hit me up afterwards that I could actually be doing the watch party and interacting with the
At
people
the same time, yeah.
that were on. See, I didn't know that.
We learning.
See, y'all
We
taking me
learning.
on. Y'all taking me in.
We
See,
learning.
this is why we need the millennial mindset. Man, I dropped it on when I was over there in Africa, what I told you all. I said, you all keep on acting like Jesus was a 50, 60, 70-year-old
Oh,
preacher.
he
I said, please get the revelation that if it was in today's time, Jesus was a millennial.
He
He was
really
30
was.
years old, crushed everything in 3 years, and was out of here on the first cloud.
I love it.
30 years old. And so that's why you got to understand that there's something that, old heads may not want to listen to young people or whatever. It's like, you ain't even got it back. You just got a gristle. I got more rags than you got clothes. All of that's good, but you can learn from everybody.
Right.
You really can.
You can learn from everybody. So I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead on.
No, it's just been an amazing thing, and Steph and I we had fun. We had good times doing what we was doing as far as sharing, and it did, as Steph stated, it brought a lot of insight. So if you all did not tune in last week, you can't do this. I'm gonna tell you all because we've been putting it out there. You can go on Pastor Sturdivant's YouTube channel. It's J.E. Sturdivant Ministries.
SCRIES.
If you go on his YouTube channel and just type in J. Sturdivant Ministries, you can see all of the
they on
teachings,
there.
the sermons, everything that he's doing. You can see all of that. And even if you just want to know what's going on with him, please go on his website as well because it's some things that's happening. And as he stated, we want you all to be a part of it. So go on his website, www.jesturdivantministries.com. See what's going on with him. Stay connected. And if you want him to be a part of your next event, next thing that you have going on, function, anniversary, workshop, conference, whatever, contact me, Janice Sturdivant. I can get you on his books. It's not that hard. I can be reached at 301-736-2383.
They did not hear you.
301-736-2383.
Louder for the ones in the back.
301-736-2383. I think they heard me in the balcony. Call me.
God.
Call me, and I promise you can have Pastor Sturdivant. He loves it. He loves you all,
I
and he
promise
wants to
I
be a
do.
part of it.
And I'm going everywhere. While I was in Africa, they hit me in Africa, and someone said, hey, listen, as soon as you get back, call me. I need you to come to the ATL. So they want me to come to the ATL, and I'm real excited about going down there. Of course, I can't go but so many places because my brother, he calls me Apostle Bishop, but he's down there just running through Georgia like
Yeah,
crazy.
he
He
is.
just got installed officially
He
this
did.
past Sunday. I got to do a mad shout out for my man, Jamal Harrison Bryant.
Yeah,
He's down there doing it. New birth, and then new birth now. They making it happen down there. They paid off people's mortgages.
Yeah.
They paid off people that were getting evicted. He wound up taking care of stuff like that. Saved a college that was going down. Gone into the community, took bags of food, just been doing everything out there, giving hope to that area. Got World Star Hip Hop all up in his
Yeah.
church. Got rappers off the street. He's partnering with everybody, and they're all coming there. So, while we're sometimes hating on certain people, I still got to remind you that God has somebody for everybody. And that you've got to recognize that God will use people for various things to do various assignments. So I appreciate him being down there and making it happen in a big, big way. And a mad shout out to my son. He's down there now you know, Jonathan Nelson, he is in
Oh,
there now
yeah, he
as
did.
the music director over
Right.
everything. He's just over it. You know, he was with Jamal when they were in Baltimore.
Yep.
And now he's down there with him again. And my girl, I'm telling you that I have no reason to fear. That Tiffany Boone that was singing with J.J. Harrison, throwing her hair everywhere, she's down there too, assisting Jonathan Nelson. So I'm just appreciating the things that are happening. There's a new shift going on in there, and I'm praying for the Lord to do some crazy stuff down there through him. Glad to be on, but I had to give him a shout out a little bit because I wasn't able to be with him during that time. But we thank God for what the Lord is doing in his life. And let me give one more shout out before I get started for my friend, my brother, just a major man in the kingdom, in the body, as well as in the Word of Faith Ministries, and that's Apostle Mike Freeman. Got a shout out to him, you know, because he and Pastor Dwayne, they're doing it major over their Spirit of Faith, but at the same time, their dad, one of my spiritual fathers, the no doubt about it, Bishop Freeman passed, and I'm praying for their family because it's their dad, and that was a man that when my daughters were very young, when I was carrying them in baskets, that man told me to come over and to preach his youth revival every year. He said, I gotta let you come and preach so that I can give you an offering to take care of all these babies.
Yeah.
And so I'm telling you, Bishop Robert O. Freeman, great giant in personality, but also a giant in the kingdom, went home to be with the Lord, and we thank God so much for him. And I'm doing these things like that right now because you have to be able to tell people you appreciate them and love them while you have an opportunity, and to let people know the impact. He gave John Jenkins his opportunity when John Jenkins was 15 years old and wasn't even old enough to drive to get there. His mother would drive him over there to the church and drop him off. So he had a heart for young preachers, and some of the preachers that are out here now that are standing are because of Bishop Robert O. Freeman. So I wanted to give him a shout out right there. All right. I appreciate everybody who's been tuning in. Got my little questions and my little informations and my little shout outs out of the way. And what I want to deal with right now, who I got there, Marcellus Magruder, thank you so much. Lisa Chu, I see you on there, daughter. Thank you so very much. I want to say thank you to everybody that is not only tuning in on Facebook, but also on YouTube. Still trying to get my body acclimated and get the jet lag out of me because I hit the ground running and have been doing phone and counseling and consultations and everything since I have been back. And so we are here. Now listen, today I want to do a little, you all did a wonderful little thing last week where you all were dealing from the perspective of unity.
Yeah.
And how the dysfunction has a way of kind of pulling things apart, and that the dysfunctions did not start just, you know, a couple of weeks ago or a couple of months ago. And you gave some case scenarios of how the dysfunction has started back in the very beginning. I want to say something. Because I got something to say.
Please say it.
So I want to say something because I got something to say. Here's what I want to say. And I'm going to come at you kind of backwards because I was reading, because I had to do a communion celebration when I was over in Nigeria.
Okay.
So when I was doing my studying on the whole Passover communion celebration, see, they couldn't even wait. They called me right away. They're ready. I'm not taking calls right now. I'm not taking calls yet. But while it was going on, while I was doing some of my studying, I looked at something, and when I looked at it, I said, this is interesting. So watch this. I want to read something. Steph, read Matthew chapter number 26, verse 20. Matthew 26, verse 20. I want somebody to put that on the screen. Matthew 26, verse 20. And read down a little bit, please, Steph.
When evening had came,
Okay.
he sat down with the 12.
Here's Jesus now. This is the last meal. He's on his way out, but he wants to have this last meal with them. He's like, look, we got to break bread because I don't know when I'm going to get a chance to do this for you all again. And, you know, I'm about to go into some heavy stuff, and I want to make sure, You know, because the best time when you're dealing with issues, if you do stuff over a dinner, it softens the blow of things. If you look at everything that's happened throughout the Bible, you'll see that man's fall came over a meal. It was with Adam and Eve over a piece of fruit. And then man got delivered from Egypt over a meal. You remember when they ate that lamb and put the blood over the doorpost and everything, they got out of Egypt. And Jesus, on his way, going into his destiny, he has a meal. Great things happen. Black families used to survive by having meals, everybody eating around the table. And I heard you allude to that in one of the teachings, that that was one of the traditions, is that you would come and sit around the table and you would eat and discuss the things that were happening during the day. So here's an opportunity to see it again. Y'all thought I wasn't listening.
You did good.
Come on up in here. Read, Steph.
Now, as they were eating, he said, "Assuredly, I say to you, one of you will betray me."
Wait a minute. While they were eating, everything's cool, we eating, Oh, by the way,
Right.
everybody in here that's in my crowd ain't in my corner.
Yeah.
And everybody in my corner ain't about my cause. Matter of fact, one of you all sitting here eating with me, even though this is an exclusive invitation-only gathering. I just want you to know that all y'all here ain't with me. So that's why that's really, really good, because you need to understand, before we get into this dysfunction thing, that everybody, even some of the ones that you close with, that you really believe are down for you, you can count on, they know your secrets and everything. No, this person, no, they would never. They would never. No, never. On God, they would never. On my mother, they would never. Listen, Jesus said, on God and my mother.
Right. Clearly.
Jesus said, he said, one of you all up in here on me.
Right.
Because he's God.
Right.
Yeah, on me.
Nah, going.
What'd he say? Come on. One of you all, go ahead.
Will betray me.
One of you all will do what?
Betray me.
One of you all will do what?
Betray me.
In other words, you're going to take the secret things that I have told you and everything I've poured into you and go to someone that means me no good and do all that you can for whatever you agree upon, be it price, notoriety, prestige, promotion, and you'll use me to advance your own agenda. See, that's really what it comes down to. You will use me to advance your own agenda. What you want to get done, you will sacrifice what I am, who I am, so that your agenda, your personal goals, your own desires can get promoted without you having to put in the work. You will use my sweat equity so that you can get equity without sweat.
Wow.
You will use my reputation so that you can better your own reputation. You'll destroy my character so that people will not look at how cruddy you actually are. I ain't got no hearts, no thumbs, no nothing. I know why. Because I got you thinking. I told you I came back greasy. I've come back with something because I want to help somebody. Come on, please, it says, one of you, handpicked. Can we go deeper? One of you preachers. One of you apostles, in whom I have based my entire ministry, that I have invested 3 years of my life, that I have let you see me when I was vulnerable. I've let you handle my money and pay my taxes. I've let you do everything that pertained to me. I've taught you everything I knew. I've taught you how to work miracles. I've let you watch me do what I do. And I didn't let you look bad publicly. When you flunked, I pulled you in privately. I covered you. And one of you, WBGR, one of you is what he's telling them. Listen, YouTube, he said one of you. Facebook, he said one of you that I have invested everything in. What did you say you're going to do again?
They will betray me.
They're going to betray me. They're going to betray me. Now, if these are anointed preachers, anointed pastors who got firsthand, not having to read the book to learn about Jesus, they had him, the word, telling them everything. He didn't lie. He ain't do nothing. But he said, one of you, Pastor Freddie, I'm trying to tell you, man. That's my son, Freddie Shell. One of you. Go ahead.
Will betray me.
Go ahead now. Read.
And they were exceedingly sorrowful.
Now they're sorry.
Yeah.
They were. He said, now watch what he said. Watch the wording. Watch the wording. Pastor Freddie, when you preach this, do a better job with it than me. Please, Pastor Marvin. He says, one of, how many did he say is going to betray him? One of you. It's 12 of you all in here. One of you is going to betray me. And it says what?
And they
were.
They were.
Wait a minute. They were what?
Exceedingly
Now,
sorrowful.
if he said it's just one, why they?
Yeah.
Why they all start feeling sorrowful? If he said it's only one of you, some would say, well, because they couldn't believe that somebody in their ranks, was going to do it. But keep reading, please.
And each of them began to say.
Wait a minute. And each of them began to say
to him,
Lord,
is it I?
Wait a minute.
Right.
Lord, is it I? Which means, what verse was that, please?
That was 22.
Verse number 22 of Matthew chapter number 26, verse 22. Each of them began to say to him, Lord, is it I? He said, one of you all are going to do it. They were all sad. Each of them asked, Lord, is it I? Which means that even though he said it's one, it's my son, Pastor K. Lionel Richards down in Louisiana County. Listen, man, you preach this thing when you preach it now. That means that each one of them had at some point in the 3-year ministry either thought about doing it, was doing it, was planning on doing it, and felt like he had exposed them. I tell people around me all of the time, they'll say, Pastor, do you know such and such and such, Pastor? I said, listen, just because I'm not saying anything does not mean that I don't know everything. I don't say everything that I know for a couple of reasons. One, you sometimes want to give people an opportunity to see the error of their ways and get it right. Secondly, you don't want somebody to feel convicted the moment that you expose it and then force them into another sin, such as lying to you because they are ashamed that you have said what they thought they had hidden. And number 3, you want to have the ability to be neutral so that when they get together, they can feel comfortable coming to you to know how to get better, as opposed to feeling like I can't go to him because he knows my mess.
Yeah.
So just because I know things doesn't mean, see, people say, well, why didn't you say something? Why? So that you can now go through a guilt thing? Because, oh my God, I've let him down, I've done that. No. That's what it means when it talks about Jesus, when it says that he is long-suffering and kind, not willing that any should perish. He gives time so that people can get things together without putting you on Front Street. Whew. Lord, if you marked my transgressions, David wrote and said in the Psalms, who would stand?
Right.
If you marked my transgressions, who would stand? So God gives us time. Go ahead. I want you to please give me some thumbs, give me some hearts and everything, because I want you to get something, because I'm about to go into this dysfunction thing, because it says they all asked him, Steph, Lord, is it I? Wow. And I don't even want to teach this, but read that last part of it, please.
He answered and said, he who dipped his hand with me in the dish will betray me.
He says, now, I don't want all of y'all to keep on tripping.
Right.
I'm going to put the rest of you all at ease. I'm going to tell you, it's the one that's got his biscuit in my gravy. It's the one that's eating off my plate. It's the one that's close enough that can say, Here, taste this. It's the one that says, here, try some of this. Now, you know that you don't feed everybody. You know you don't let everybody feed you. The moment you see someone that's putting food in someone else's mouth, you know that that relationship is beyond one that is just social. The moment that you see eating off of someone's plate, you know that oh no, ain't nothing between us. The moment that you see certain things, you know there is more going on to it. Watch this. He said, it's the one that is close enough to me that he can put his hand in my plate, because the way the table is set up, everybody ain't that close. Some people are at the table, but ain't as close as other people at the table. And the one that was at the table that had his hand in his plate, because you do know there was one on the other side that had his head on the master's bosom. His name was John, but the one that was eating out the plate, that was Judas. Interesting dynamic, that the one that was looking close and eating out his plate was also the one that was in control of his finances. Got to be careful. I'm going to try to help some pastors. Got to be careful, because sometimes the ones that think that they have the say-so over how you make it will sometimes be the ones that think that they can control your destiny. Because it was the one that was keeping the bag, Judas. That was the one with his hand in his plate. Come on, swipe right, somebody. Is getting really, really close now. Be careful of everybody who is always so willing to do things for you financially. They may have a hidden agenda. Be careful of the ones that know your financial status, know your money, know everything like that. They may have a hidden agenda. Be careful when what you're looking for is somebody who is financially able to take care of you. They may be getting with you because they have a hidden agenda. Oh no, he got to make such and such amount of money. Oh no, she got to have her own. Now be careful about making those type of criteria as standards when you don't know the character of the one who's standing next to you. Got to be careful, got to be careful. They all started saying, Lord, is it I? And he pointed it out. Now, the reason why I want to do that, thank you so much, Steph. I know I got y'all's attention now. Now that I got your attention, question is, thank you, Bishop Marvin Wine. Will I ever leave you? The answer is, yeah. Yes, you will. So now here we are. Here we are. Watch this. When it comes to the family dysfunction, I know you want me to talk about, oh, there was a family at the table, there was a this, there was that. No, I want to talk about when it comes to you and your family, because what we have exhausted is we have exhausted the concept of family dysfunction. We have exhausted the concept that there are dysfunctions in the family, whether it came from emotional abuse, sexual abuse, whether it was because of adultery or fornication, whether it was somebody that was domestic violence, whether it was somebody that's got an issue with crack cocaine, weed, alcohol. We have exhausted all of the things that cause the dysfunction. We have exhausted, there's no communication, there's no this. We have done all of those things ad nauseum. We have discovered all of the things that deal with the concept of dysfunction. And what do we say dysfunction was? It's a consequence of a social activity or structure that undermines a social system. We know that there is something, an activity or something that is going on that is breaking up the system of the family. We know it. But what I want to know is, have you, while you are looking at the concept of the family dysfunction, have you ever stopped to ask the question? Because, you know, we can always go back and say, it started with Grandpa Johnson. It was with Grandma Gertrude. It was with Uncle Leroy. He always sat the girls on their lap when they had their petticoat dresses on. They would rub them on their thighs. It was the babysitter. They gave me beer when I was 2. All of these things, we have said all of the stuff. I was raised by this. We have now exonerated all of and exhausted the whole concept of why there's a family dysfunction and all. But what I want to know is, have you ever examined and asked yourself, I said we've exhausted, but have you ever examined and asked yourself the question, am I the one? Watch this. That not started the family dysfunction, but once I know that there is a dysfunction, am I the one that's continuing to promote the family dysfunction? Oh, God. Lord, is it I? Because, see, the reason why most of us are always talking about where it started is because we can then subliminally, subconsciously blame the initiator or the one that opened the door to it and say, well, I'm just like this because I'm a part of the Addams family. It was Adam in the beginning, I'm a part of, he's creepy and he's kooky, mysterious and spooky. He's altogether hokey, the Addams family. See, we can start there, but since you know what it is, the question is, have you been a passive participant so that you've been perpetuating the same thing that you have been saying is wrong? Come on. I'm now making you have to look at what part am I playing in the dysfunction? And that would have been the topic for today's teaching. What part am I playing in the family dysfunction? If you know that there is a spirit in your family of sexual promiscuity, and that was how you were born, or you've got other brothers and sisters outside of wedlock, or you know that your father's had affairs, or your mother's had affairs, all of those things, you know that that's one of the family dysfunctions. Why are you now having fornication or sex without marriage? Or why are you involved in the same thing? Are you perpetuating the very thing that you are saying that you are hating as a dysfunction in your family? If you know in your family that lying is a thing, or alcoholism is a thing, or substance abuse is a thing, instead of saying that is a family dysfunction, that's an acknowledgement. But until you do something with what you have acknowledged, you are just as guilty as the ones who did it. Why? They did not have the information that you now have access to. And you are now, for the next generation, promoting the very thing that people will now look back and say, when Grandpa James, when Uncle James, when Daddy James had an opportunity, he ain't do nothing with it. And that's why I am like I am. And that's good for you to have somebody to point to until they gone and you're the one that's left to carry on. And then somebody points back and say, well, Mommy T, Auntie Joan, Uncle Buck, how come you ain't do nothing? So you see, you've now got to start looking at this whole family dysfunction, the way it becomes a generational curse, as I talk about in my book, Learning to Soar, chapters number 6 through chapter number 10. The way that spirit becomes a thing in your generation is because when you had the opportunity to do something different, you just talked about, you know what you need to do, you just never did it. So you became a functioning dysfunction within the family dysfunction. You became one that now knows how to manipulate or to maneuver or to move with the dysfunction so that it does not look like a dysfunction when you do it, because you have better ways of covering than the previous generations did. Okay, I just now opened up a can of worms. I took out a six pack of whip boop boop, and you can now start popping the top and you want to say anything? Who wants to say something? Come on.
You on a roll, but I think it's one of those things where you really do this teaching is really having you evaluate because examining yourself is such a hard thing this day and time where people are so quick to blame others that
blame has you can get a PhD in blame.
Yeah, blame.
I got my doctorate in blame.
Yeah.
I got my doctorate. I can start down and blame my husband, blame my
Right.
wife, blame my if my children hadn't been born, I would have finished school.
Yeah.
You know, now you can go to school online and you ain't doing nothing.
Exactly.
You know, no, but it's because the times have been, we blame everything. It can get all the way down to the spirit of it. And I'm about to go there for you all in just a second. Go ahead.
No, that was it. We blame others, which prevents us from looking at ourselves. So when it's all said and done, do we really actually desire or want to take responsibility?
There you go. Do we want
Do we want?
the family to function?
Right. Do we want? Yeah.
Or have we gotten so comfortable
Yeah. Content. Yeah.
in the dysfunction? I'm going to go to Steph in just a second, but we do that same thing when it comes to issues concerning black people.
You do.
We'll talk about the black man don't get this, the black woman don't get that, and this is happening, and it's bad, and it's this, and it's that, but still the black community don't come together.
Exactly.
The prices are so high, this, that, but don't nobody come together. Everybody can cook, but don't nobody open up no black restaurants.
Nobody
But then
supports
you
that.
hating on, we don't support black businesses, then we hate on the Asian community that comes in, we hate on everybody else, and all we do is become thumb thugs and social media, what is it, trolls? Is that the word, trolls or whatever?
trolls,
We do all of that kind of stuff, and we ain't making no changes. Everybody knows how to talk about the problem, but nobody wants to do anything to deal with the problem. I call that people that are thermometers as opposed to thermostats.
Yep.
Thermometers only take the temperature of what a thing is. Thermostats have the ability to adjust the temperature. Then we have perfected talking about the church ain't no good. All of this is bad. That's why I don't go. Well, then why don't you be the one that comes into the church, be the standard, and start being what you always hated in it? Why don't you come and start being a better whatever? We have perfected, and everybody keeping it 100. Strong fist. Bicep picture. 100, 100, 100. Big eyes. Running. All the emojis. We do all of that stuff, social media, but nobody is literally doing anything to make a difference. All we have done is exempted ourselves from the situation, exonerated ourselves from the situation, and didn't know that we were actually perpetuating the very thing that we say that
And I don't think we should even despise whatever small thing that
Come
you
on.
can do, because a lot of times
There
we
it
think
is.
that, okay, I have to do something on this scale or this astronomical for it to count or matter. Don't despise small things, even if it's just talking to one person, helping somebody.
You read my
supporting.
lesson.
Yeah.
You read my lesson. Go ahead.
Please, Steph, go ahead.
No, you go on, because you want it. This is the time the Lord wants it to come out. Go ahead.
No, really, honestly, we can't despise like the small changes, and a lot of times we think that, okay, if we don't do this, that it doesn't count, it doesn't matter. Don't despise those things, because every little bit count, and you just gotta keep your eyes open around here. We really do, because it's a lot of things that's happening. We're doing a lot of complaining, but nobody's doing any type of changes, and so we're gonna keep on finding ourselves year after year saying the same thing, complaining about the same thing, because nobody took the chance or took the opportunity to want to do something different.
I had an opportunity on this past Sunday to talk with some of the great minds, the young minds in Nigeria. And they are from ages 25 to 45. And they are the ones that are the politicians. They are already actresses and actors in what they call Bollywood. You know, they are makeup artists. They are engineers. They're movers. They are shakers.
Nice.
They are the ones that are going to restructure the whole concept of Nigeria. And one of the things that I had shared with them is that everybody always talks about how corrupt certain things are, but there is not a corrupt nation. There are corrupt people in positions in a nation. It's a character issue. It is really not anything. Pastor Billy Staten pulled out the James Brown spirit. He says, talking loud and doing nothing. Whereas James Brown said, it's like a dull knife. It just ain't cutting. You're talking loud and ain't saying nothing. See, that's Reverend Doctor, the late Reverend Dr. James Brown. Reverend Doctor James Brown, back in the day. So, Steph, what you want to say to me, please, daughter?
Janice, you hit it with the blame part, but also I feel like us being selfish plays a big part in it too, because just because I'm not doing what my dad is doing,
Come on,
my cousins are doing, I feel like I'm better, even though I'm not doing anything necessarily better. I'm just not doing what they're doing.
Good
and
point.
so it's just kind of like I'm being selfish by not wanting to change the generations after me, because they're gonna still look at me and I'm still doing those negative things at the end of the day. So it's just we got to be a little less selfish. We compare ourselves to
our family and friends a lot.
Oh yeah, we do. Yeah.
Right, and we think just because I may not my addiction may not be as loud as my family or this member's addiction, it makes me
or
better.
I have money to pay for my addiction.
Right.
And they don't.
Exactly.
Right.
Money. I got to give credit where credit is due. My brother, my friend Noel Jones said years ago. He said this. He says, "Money gives you discretion."
That's so true.
Money gives you secrecy.
It does.
You can afford to be on a higher level with your addiction or your habit if you've got money. The reason why the crack addict is on the street is because they don't have the money to afford powdered cocaine.
Exactly.
See, the reason why you can have a politician sitting up on Congress, sitting up there, is because they've got the money of secrecy in their offices where they can do lines of cocaine and no one's going to bust in and arrest them because they're the ones that are making the laws to make it okay for cocaine to be brought into the community.
Exactly.
You see, and so you've got to understand the concept of one person is not. What was somebody put up on a church thing years ago? I don't necessarily agree, but I understand the concept, and it says this. That you can't, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't know the exact way it was said, but you all will know it when I start saying it, that you can't hate on a person just because they sin differently than you do.
Yeah.
I don't know the correct way, but we sometimes look down on somebody because they are an alcoholic. They are a drunkard. They are a whoremonger. That may be it. But the Bible calls it, he says, there are sins of the flesh and sins of the spirit. See, sins of the flesh are you being able to see what the person is struggling with.
Yeah.
Sins of the spirit is when a person just has a nasty attitude and thinks negative thoughts and you just don't know it because you don't hear them talk or can't read their minds.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people in church that are just as bad as the person that comes in struggling, dumb, drunk, and everything like that. There are people that are sitting in there saying, what they up in here for? Right. See, that's what they get. They done came up in here, they getting just what they do. And they have a sin of the spirit that is just as bad as the sin of the flesh. It's just that you don't really see theirs because it's inside of them. It's in the spirit part of them as opposed to something that is on the outside of them. Come on, watch this. I'm going to show it to you. You think that I don't really believe it? Watch this. Luke chapter number 7. Janice, would you please read Luke chapter number 7, verse number 37? And we're going to go ahead on. And I'm going to give you some more of this dysfunction.
And behold, a woman in the city who was a sinner.
A woman in the city who was a sinner. Now they say it's a woman in the city.
Yeah.
In the city.
In the city.
It's just like saying woman from the streets.
Right.
She's trying to keep it real out in these streets.
Yeah.
The woman in the streets.
Who was a sinner.
Who was a sinner. Now, what's she doing in the streets that makes her a sinner? Come on, please.
When she knew that Jesus sat at the table in the Pharisee's house.
She knew Jesus was at the Pharisee's house, so she is a sinner.
Right.
She is in the streets. She got some issues that everybody knows about because it's in the book. They done wrote about it.
Right.
But she knows where Jesus is.
Right.
And she knows what house he's over. That's
house.
why at the Pharisee's house. I know he's over the house of this religious person. See, I know where the religious person lives. That's what I want you to understand.
Like,
I may be a woman in these streets.
She's very aware.
But I know who live in what house. And I know how they living in that house. See, you all got to understand that just because everybody might not be in church don't mean they don't know what's going on in your house. Reverend, you just said something, Reverend. All right. Come on, keep reading.
And she brought an alabaster flask of fragrant oil.
She came and bought an alabaster flask. Yeah, she bought this flask that's made of alabaster, which is extremely expensive.
Yeah.
That's the container.
Yeah.
So if the container is expensive, it is said that that would have been the cost of 1 year's wages.
Wow.
She brought in a perfume that was the amount of a year's salary. Just ask yourself the question without me asking you. Never mind, I will. How much you make a year? That's how much she spent on this oil that she was bringing to anoint Jesus with. And you struggle. This woman's from the streets.
Right.
And you struggle.
10%.
This woman, she's a street person.
Yeah.
And this woman is willing to give the amount of what you make per year to Jesus, and you won't give a dime out of a dollar as a tithe, and you sure not going to give the man of God a love offering. And here she was giving the man of God anointing and a gift that would, see, ain't no hearts, no nothing coming up right now. See, everybody died out on the brother. See, I got too close.
That's
close.
because we was judging her being in the city.
Yeah, because they was judging her being in the city. Yes, she ain't had no right. I bet she was looking like a skank. I bet she was she probably had on a skirt. She probably had a Brazilian wax, too. And you could see it because she ain't have on no drawers. I know.
Right.
See, we do all of this outer judging of people. We do it. But keep reading, Josiah. What does it say?
And stood at his feet
She
behind
came
him.
behind him, stood at his feet. She knew where he was, knew what house he was in. Y'all don't want to mess with me today, but she knew which one was Jesus at the table.
I promise you.
Because every man at the table ain't Jesus.
Right.
Every man in the house, but I know who I'm looking for. And there's some rich people at the table. There's some religious people at the table. So I could look for somebody who is spiritual or financially secure, but I better look for somebody who got Jesus.
There's probably some people at the table that paid her.
I promise you. That's what she get. That's why she know the house. That's why she knew where they were. And how's she gonna know the Pharisees' house if she a woman from the street?
Right. No, exactly.
And here's the thing. How come ain't nobody stop her when she came in?
Exactly.
You have no right in here, woman. You cannot come in here.
Right.
You have no right. This is holy ground.
Right.
She's like, you ain't say that when I was here last week. You ain't say that when you had your head all between my bosom. See, I just kept that clean for you all.
Yeah.
But she knew. She knew where the preachers gathered.
Right.
And she knew the difference between all the rest of the preachers and Jesus.
Wow.
Every preacher ain't Jesus.
That's good.
And every preacher ain't got Jesus. I see my brother on here, Pastor Grant Thompson. Good to see you on here. Good to see you. Go ahead. Read on, daughter.
And she stood at his feet behind him weeping.
You know how you play duck, 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 goose. You know, it's like, oh no, you a duck.
Right.
You a duck. You a duck. You a duck. I want the goose. The goose lays the golden eggs. All the ducks do is offer you quack. I want the goose.
That's good.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
They make a lot of noise,
They ain't saying nothing.
but they ain't saying nothing. She stood behind Jesus. Come on.
Weeping, and she began to wash his feet with her tears.
She began to listen. None of you all pulled at my emotions. None of you got in touch with my isness. I've been with all y'all. I had a guy come to the church one time. I don't know if you remember, we were in our old location and he came in, and when he came in, and he was in full drag. Do you remember?
Yeah.
He was, we were in school together years ago, and we came in, and he said to me, he said, Pastor Sturdivant, do you know why I come to your church? He said, because you are the only pastor that keeps it real. And then here's what he said. He says, I done been with every pastor in this city. Do you want me to tell you who they were? I said, no, man. No. Don't do that. He says, but I love you because even with how I have chosen to live, you have never put me out. You have never pushed me away. And you always hugged me whenever I came in. Listen, people are going to know that we belong to Jesus by our love, not by our judgment. I'm going to say it again. They'll know we belong to him by our love and not by our judgment. Y'all need to come to Bible study tonight. I got something for you. Go ahead, please.
She was weeping and washed his feet with her tears and wiped them with the hair of her head.
Wow.
And she kissed his feet and anointed them with the fragrant oil.
Oh, my God. I see you, Pastor Anthony Thomas. Good to see you, man. Thank you so much. She did all of this stuff for him. And she was a woman from the street.
Yeah.
Now watch what the next thing says. Watch this now, y'all.
Now when the Pharisee who had invited him
When the
saw
Pharisee,
this,
the religious man, the one that was the church person with the position, with the title,
yeah.
the religious leader, when he saw how lavishly, my God, she lavishly loved him, because those who have been forgiven much, he's going to say that later on, they love much. Folk that are stingy when it comes to God is because they don't love him like that. I'm helping somebody. I'm also hurting some people's feelings.
Yeah.
But I came back for that reason. Come on, please.
He invited him, saw this. He spoke to himself saying,
He
this
did what?
man,
He
he
spoke
spoke
what?
to himself.
He spoke to what?
Himself.
So this was within him.
Yeah.
He didn't say this out loud.
He said this to himself.
So that was the sin of the spirit. Remember, I told y'all before I got started that there are some people you can recognize what their issues are.
Yeah.
She was a woman of the street. That's the sin of the flesh. But there are also some individuals that have sins of the spirit. They look the part. They dress the part. They've got everything right. But they are sinning within themselves. They are self-righteous. They are hateful. They are judgmental. But you don't know none of that because they don't say it out loud. They don't wear it on there saying, hi, I'm going to judge you as you walk by me. They don't wear signs saying that. They don't say, I think that you are beneath me. I am a racist. I am better than. They don't wear signs that say that. They wear suits. They wear ties. They wear judges' robes. They go to work every day. They don't smoke. They don't drink. They don't cuss. They don't chew. And they don't associate with people that do. They don't do none of the stuff that are the big sins. And so they think that they are Christians because they don't do what everybody else is guilty of. Please read on, daughter.
He spoke to himself saying, this man, if he were a prophet.
This man, what?
If he were a prophet.
This man, if he were, now you done brought Jesus in.
Right.
Because you believe he's a prophet. But all you need is one person that comes in that he does not get ready, judge the way that you judge him. And because Jesus did not judge the woman the way that religion judged the woman, then religious leaders started saying, ain't nothing to him. He ain't real. You supposed to be a preacher. And these are the type of members you got. I've had people say that. I've had people send me letters saying, how you going to let this person sing? How you going to let this person be a part of the ministry when they are this and they are that and they are the other? I'm just saying this, you know. And then anonymous. What the what? What the what? Really? You gonna tear down somebody else and then be anonymous? Come on, this is a sin of the spirit. Come on, please, daughter.
This man, if he
were a prophet. Now, in other words, you're now going to judge his gift, his oil, his anointing, because he does not respond to people and situations the way that you do. How can you not say something? How can you not do something? I just told you all when we first came on, just because a person knows everything doesn't mean that the person has to say everything. Why? Because you want to give individuals time to get themselves together. This woman came looking for Jesus. He was not out on the street doing soul winning. He was not out on the street. He just did not condemn her where he saw her, which means that he gave her an opportunity to find him. Who would have come into the ministry if you had not been so nasty trying to get a Starbucks until you ran past them, bumped into them, called them trash, or you knocked them on their arm with the door coming out of 7-Eleven after you got your coffee and your donut to get yourself together, or you ran past them on your way to church with your $75, $85, $250 shoes on and $1,000 suit, and yet you couldn't even give them $1 and have a word of prayer. I was going going, when I got back in from the airport the other day, I stopped by Wawa's to get myself a sandwich or something. I wanted to get a sandwich, had to go by the church, wouldn't give me a sandwich. And as I'm coming out, I'm putting my change in my pocket, and there's a guy behind the door. And as I come out the door, he says, "Hey, sir, excuse me." He's singing to himself, can you give me some spare change? And I've always said, man, ain't none of my change spare. All my change is here, present, and accounted for. I don't have no spare, nothing. It's all used.
Right.
And I had $1, and I said, "I'll give you $1, brother, but I got to pray for you." He said, "Man, I could sure use a prayer."
Oh.
I gave the brother $1. I said, "Tell me your name, because when I pray, I want to pray for you specifically." He says, "I'm Rashid." So I give Rashid $1, and he was smoking a cigarette. I grabbed one hand. The moment I said, "Father, in the name of Jesus," he took the cigarette out of his mouth, held it behind his back, and just held onto my hand.
Yeah.
The respect of not holding the cigarette in his mouth because I'm praying. The moment I start praying for him, I do that. I give him the $1. When I got finished, he said, "Man, thanks, man." Little tear coming out of his eye. He's like, "Thanks, man. Thanks, man." He says, "Man, I needed that." As I start walking away, I see that somebody has thrown a dime and a couple of pennies on the ground. I pick them up and I say, "Here, man, somebody dropped these." So he said, "Man, bless you, man. Bless you, man." He said, "Look, do you know Kirk Franklin?" I said, "Man, Kirk is a friend." He says, "Man, Kirk Franklin is to Christians what Tupac was for everybody else."
Yeah.
Here's the guy that all of a sudden he's made a connection with something that he can say is Christian or God because somebody did not come out, walk past him, or be abusive to him. You've got to be careful of how you entertain strangers. Some people have entertained angels unaware. He wasn't no angel. He was smoking a cigarette. Well, you call yourself, you done put your grandmama as an angel, and she was cussing and dipping snuff. She did, but you made her an angel. You got people that were selling drugs on the corner, and you done made them, "Well, at least I got me an angel now. Heaven done gained an angel." You know that person was nasty as homemade sin, and you've made them angels all of a sudden because they died. Why do we give some people a right to make it to heaven or to be chosen by the Lord when they fit our standard or because they're our friends, and we don't give other people the same right? I want to ask a question. With everything you know about you, and as good as you think you are, with all the issues that you know you got, yet you believe that you can be saved and still make it to where the Lord has for you. Well, if you knowing everything you know about you, how can you give up on somebody else when you don't even know everything about them that you know about yourself and say God can't use them? I'm out of time. Josiane, you want to say something?
This was amazing. I promise you he came back with some oil. He said it. He said it and he did.
I'm beyond oil. I'm greasy. I told you. It's lard and melted butter with olive oil.
Yeah. See, look, we need you all, please, on social media. Please just not only just share this, but then also, talk about it with, loved ones, because we got to make a change. We got to make a difference. And it is one thing when, like he said before, you can hear it, but then it's another thing as far as applying it and sharing it. And you heard him. He alluded to one of his books, Learn to Soar, while he was teaching it. And I'm encouraging you all, as we always do, please, if you don't have these books, Pastor preaches, he teaches, he ministers from these are his personal stories. When I tell you all, it has been a blessing to people all over the world. And if you do not own any of his books, please go on his webpage, www.jestradavantministries.com. Again, www.jestradavantministries.com. He has a couple of books that's on his way, and I want you all to have these books because, like we told you all, each of his books are personal testimony, and you want to get them, or if you want to be a blessing, if this teaching has been a blessing to you, if his ministry has been a blessing to you, you just want to say, Pastor, you stir some things up, you have me thinking, I appreciate your wisdom.
You got on my nerves, whatever way you want to put it.
Whichever way you want to put it, and you just want to say thank you.
Yeah.
For that, you can do that via Cash App, and his handle is the $, capital D, lowercase r, capital J, capital E, capital S.
God bless you. I appreciate all of you. I love you so very, very much. Listen, as you know, I'm out of time. I'm past time. I haven't run out of teaching. I'm not out of word. I want to encourage you to come back next week at this exact same time. I'm going to bring you some more concerning this concept of what part do I play and my family dysfunction. I want you to please do that. Come on, share this, get it out there to everybody else. I love you so very, very much. And I want you to join me, social media. Join me again later on this afternoon. There's a second dose to this double dose. I'll be back on again. Until that time, some people are on the air because they can afford to be on the air. Others on the air because they like the way they sound on the air. But we're on the air because what?
We got something to say. We got something to say. We got something to say.
God bless you. We appreciate you. I hope you heard. You heard me. I'm out of here. God bless you. Thank you, WBGR. Thank you so much, YouTube. Thank you, Facebook. I love you guys. We out.